Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. We got a potpourri of lots of topics that hopefully will help you out as we go through the call today. So I appreciate you being on time. A lot of guys come in 5 minutes late and they miss all sorts of the great tools that we cover in this first couple of minutes. So they don't even realize that they miss things that could actually use and make their practice better. So I appreciate you being on time. We always try to start on time, and so but it looks like about half the people come in about 5 minutes late. So like this tool right here, they're going to miss, which is, thanks Renan, he pointed this out to me. It's a fantastic site that will write your handwritten notes for you. Now, they're $3 each to do this, but if you're so, you all know what I think about handwritten notes. When I was making $1 million a year in person production, I wrote 200 handwritten notes a month, 50 a week. So every Thursday night after Michelle went to bed, I would sit up and write 50 handwritten notes. And those handwritten notes would be birthdays. They would be happy anniversary, an anniversary when people first became my client. It would be thank yous for coming to seminars. It would be all sorts of different things. But I just made it a practice to write 200 handwritten notes a month, even as busy as I was. So, 200 times $3 would be a lot of money that if you just sat down and did it yourself, it would be far better. But if you really don't want to sit down and write down handwritten notes, this is a great little site that will do it for you. And when we got this is we could not tell the difference between because this is actually computer generated, but we couldn't tell the difference. So it's pretty impressive. But I don't know if it's worth $3 compared to you sitting down and doing it yourself. 5Q tape breakdown last week was a tape that we listened to that they did such a beautiful job, and then they'd fumble the ball at the very end. And as anything in life, guess what? It's how you start and how you finish. It doesn't matter how good you do up to the finish, though. You can play a perfect game, but if you muff it at the end, guess what? You're not going to win. Yep, you're going to lose. So that's a great tape to listen to. Faith, focus, and 500 balls a day, how Kelvin Harmon became the NFL's next alpha receiver. Long ago, Kelvin Harmon learned that chasing greatness can be lonely. Few people want to stay on the turf after exhausting practice and run routes long into the night. Few people want to work on a jugs machine until they can't feel their fingers. Catching as many as 600 balls in a 24-hour span. Few people do these things because few people want to be as great as Kelvin Harmon does. So what does that tell us about if you want to be great, what do you have to do? Yeah, that's right, Till. The 21 script practice is no different. If you want to be great at the 21-point checklist script, you got to do it over and over. You don't do it till you get it right. You do it till you can't get it wrong. That's what Kelvin does. In fact, Warren Buffett says we don't have to be smarter than the rest. We just have to be more disciplined than the rest. Because really, if anybody of even below average intelligence, could they learn the 21-point checklist script? Could they master it? We talked about the fireman a while ago. It's like my kid in school. I say, you know what? If he doesn't get an A in calculus, can I forgive him? Calculus or chemistry or something like that. Can I forgive him? Yeah, because that's something that requires you to understand. I mean, and some people just can't get the concept of chemistry. I was terrible at it. The concept of calculus that requires understanding things. Say no. Saying no allows you to read, learn, sleep, and ask questions. Contact friends, love life more. So, what are they saying no to? What should you say no to? Well, things that are not enriching your lives. That's basically love is the only religion. This is the only thing we're surrendering to. Make mistakes. Mistakes are the spell books of success. Study them hard. Learn their incantations. And I'm sorry for the way this is written, but when muscles tear, they rebuild stronger. This is probably, if you talk to any billionaire, in fact, what do billionaires tell you? Those of you that I think I talked about this a couple years ago. When there was a guy that went and interviewed, I think, 31 different billionaires. Guess what they all had in common? Guess what the one thing is they all had in common? They'd all failed. Exactly, Nick. They'd all failed. And the thing they did, now here's the funny thing, when they failed, did they go try to do something else, or did they try to do the same thing over again? So if they failed at a restaurant, did they go and then say, I got to get out of the restaurant industry, I better try the car industry? Or did they go back and do the restaurant again? They went back and did a restaurant again, learning from all of their mistakes. So that really, if you think about it, we're going to talk about this a little later, this is what really makes you, that's what made me, took me to a 20-fold increase in my income, was looking at my mistakes and fixing one little mistake after another little mistake after another little mistake. This should be number one by far to what makes people millionaires. Plant seeds, basic garden math. 1% of the seeds turns into 50% of the flowers. How do we do that how should we be doing that every day? How do we plant seeds? If you're doing the 5Q system, what should you be doing every single day to get 1% better? Yep, the 15-minute drill. 15-minute drill. That's your 1% better every single day. Be around people who are kind and love you. Guys, we're all independent, so we all work on an island. So find people who can support you, because you don't have that water cooler that a lot of people have at work. Find people to support you. Stand next to the smartest person in the room. Hang around people who are smarter than you. No excuses. Stop blaming everything except who? Yourself. Yourself, yourself, yourself. Don't be in a rush. Again, get 1% better. You're not going to be better overnight. Get 1% better every single day. Solve difficult gratitude problems. If you can find a diamond in the mud, you're going to end up with a lot of diamonds in life. Find things that are around you that you should be grateful for and recognize them. Warren Buffett's 5-25 rule. Make a list of 25 things you want to do in life. Now do the top 5 and never again think about the other 20. Focus, focus, focus. Write down 10 ideas a day. Follow up. Again, this is the whole sending handwritten notes thing, right? Follow up, follow up, follow up. Send an email the next day with an idea on the next step. Got to follow through on things. Ask questions. Enough said on that, right? 1% a day. We talked about that earlier. Right now. Regret the waste of time. When should you be doing something that's going to make you better? Right now. Don't say next Monday I'm going to start doing the MIFT. Do it today. Sleep. Get your sleep. Every day, avoid death. You can get rich. Can't get rich from a hospital bed. Be healthy. Eat right. Get your sleep. Do one thing every day that you loved as a kid. This will keep you from being burned out. Do something that you love. Okay? Words are, words are important. Words are important. And you'll notice that I use stewards, being a good steward of your money. Being a good steward. Why do I use being a good steward of your money? Because actually they found, this is the first time I've actually found it validated in research and science, religious material promoting humanity as stewards make Christians care more about the environment. Christians show greater concern for climate change and environmental issues in general when presented with religious material from credible sources that advocates humanity's role as stewards of nature. New research report. So what is the power of the stewards? Why does that work for Christians? Why does that word work for Christians? It's biblical, right, Nicholas? It's biblical. It's the power of words. You need to talk in the language of the people you're meeting with. So one of the things that I actually talked to one of my very, very good advisors last week, and he got caught kind of flat-footed on when he was asked how you're paid. And so I kind of rang a bell and said, hey, you know what? We could all probably use a refresher on this because it's going to happen, and we need to know how to deal with it. So the first thing we deal with when how we're paid is, do we wait for them to ask, or do we want to cover it right up front? Yeah, cover it up front. So where do we do that? In that first meeting where we say, hey, would it be okay if I share with that next hour or so? And they say, sure. Say, first, you got a lot of questions. We deal with the question things. But then we get down here and we say, okay, just as a reminder, this is a complimentary meeting. And I understand that some of you, that someone who's retired has got a lot going on. You're busy. You've got friends. You've got hobbies. You got grandkids. You're busy. So I get it. And the fact that you took a couple of hours off to come listen to me at the workshop, I really appreciate that. And for those people, I'm willing to do as a thank you, 1 hour of my donate 1 hour of my personal time to them to make sure the whole experience is everything they want it to be. Okay, so that's why we're here today. To be honest with you, about half the people that come to see us, they end up working with us in one shape, form, or manner. We may help them with investments or their estate planning or whatever it may be, and they'll pay us in any number of ways depending on what they choose to do with this. The more we do, the more they'll pay us. The less we do, the less they'll pay. And then about half the people, just like you're sitting here today, does anybody know, again, why do I say this right at the end? So I cover, hey, some people work with us, but then I say, but some people, just like you're sitting here today, yep, takes the pressure off, guys. Yeah, lots of good answers there. Just like you're sitting here today, I help them at no cost because they just need simple adjustments. They actually go home, do it themselves, and hey, I'm always willing to take a call to help them if I can, but they don't become formal clients. So you're right, that takes the pressure off. It has to be in that order. I don't want to say half the people don't work with us, but half the people do. Because you say, if you start out with, hey, half the people don't work with us, but half the people do, then what? They're going to remember what? That half don't or half do? They'll remember the half do. People remember the last thing you said. So when you're talking about how you're paid, you want to make sure the last thing you say is, and about half the people that come in, just like you're sitting here today, I help them at no cost. So that's what's left in their mind. That removes their fear. That make sense? So you should be very well versed at this, because then what can you do in the meeting if they ask something about how you're paid? You can say, yeah, I recall we talked about that earlier, blah, 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 right? The more I do for you, the more you pay me. The less I do, the less I'm paid. About half the people come to see me, they don't even become clients. I can just repeat this, and then they say, oh, yeah, I remember us covering that. Make sense? Now, we do it at the beginning of the process. Now, between the first meeting and when they are actually going to buy from us, that's what, the next day, or that could be 2 or 3 weeks down the road. 2 or 3 weeks down the road. So may have they forgotten. Also, do they read a lot of stuff in magazines and listen to a lot of talking heads about make sure all you're paid? Commission is evil. Guys, can I ask you a question? I think I covered this a couple weeks ago. CPAs and attorneys, how do they work? CPAs and attorneys, how do they work? No, they don't. They get paid commission. Why do they get paid commission? Well, some do get paid hourly. Yeah, some attorneys do get paid hourly, but some attorneys do what? If they when they do a will, when they do a trust, when they do a power of attorney, or when an accountant does a tax return, they're paid per what? That's a commission. Isn't that a commission? That's a transaction cost, which means that's a commission. Now, they don't like to call it a commission because commissions are evil, but in the end, what is it? It's a commission. So what are all in the articles and all that saying about commission? Commission is what? Good or bad? Bad. Funny thing is, given the choice with your realtor, if they said, I'll charge you 6% up front, or I'm going to charge you 1% a year, and that 1% is going to be on the increasing value of your house that we sell, which one would you take? Yeah, the 6. So you just have to explain that to people. But here's the thing. You don't want to get into this, a very, very simple way to deal with it. Well, how are you paid on the fixed index annuity? What you'd say is, any way you want to pay me. I mean, you can pay me, have the company pay me 1% a year for as long as you hold the account. You can have the company pay me 6% one time, or you can actually even have the company not pay me at all. Now, are all these things true? Yes. Are there FIA companies out there that allow you to take 1% instead of the commission? So you say, hey, you can pay me any way you want. You can pay me 1%. And so all the awesome. That's because of the clout that the securities industry has, that they're saying, so they're saying commissions are bad, but the way we charge, that's okay. And I get it. You know what? I pay fees and I pay commissions both. So we got to get paid some way. So when I'm buying something, I'll pay people fees. I'll also pay people commissions. I get that they have to be paid. There's not one way that's evil. You just need to know what you're getting. But these people have been brainwashed that what? Fees are good and commissions are bad. So we just say, listen, you can pay me any way you want. You can pay me 1% a year for as long as you hold the account. You can pay me 6% up front, or you can have the company not pay me at all. We can just go directly to the company. Now, here's the thing about all these three things. No matter how you tell the company to pay me, or you tell me what box you want me to check. You want me to check the 1% box? You want me to check the 6% box? Or you want me to actually call the company and not check any of the boxes, say, I don't want to be paid. Can you deal with these people directly? No matter what, it doesn't affect you at all. Because the way I explain the FIA works exactly the same regardless of which way you choose. You don't make any more, and you don't make any less. It works the exact same way. So did you like the way the fixed index annuity worked? Well, yeah. And so if you pay me 1%, how will that change? The way I showed you. Well, you're saying it doesn't. Not only am I saying it, but guess what? It doesn't. If I get paid 6%, guess what? Guess how it changes? It doesn't. It doesn't change at all. Now, why wouldn't it change it? Well, if you think about it, folks, here's the thing. If they pay me 1% a year, and that account should go up or go down every year? Go up or go down every year? Go up. So within 5 years, guess what they have paid? More than if they just paid me 6% up front. So they don't care, 1% a year or 6% up front. In fact, they'd prefer for me to take 6% up front because then they pay me less. But now here's the weird one. If they don't pay me at all, now I hope you don't want me to get paid, but let's say that you don't want me to get paid at all, and I call the company and say, can you work with these people directly? I don't want to be paid. That won't even affect you because there's this weird law called rebating, and you can look it up on Google. But if the company takes that 6% that they would have paid me, or that 1% a year they would have paid me, and instead pays you, guess what happens to that company? So guys, what would happen to that company if they did that? Yeah, they'd lose their license because that's rebating, right? Can insurance companies pay the customer the commission back? No. You can even Google it for them and show them right there. So, folks, you can decide how you want to pay me. You want to pay me 1%? I'll check that 1% box. If you want, and here's the fun thing: you're not even paying me. The company's paying me. But if you want, I'll check the 1% box. If you want, I'll check the 6% box. If you want, I guess, and you don't want to become a client of mine, you just want to work directly, and you want the insurance company to keep either the 1% a year or the 6%. I don't know why, but if you do, you don't like me that much, we can just have the insurance company keep it. But how will any of those things affect you? So which way do you want me to get paid? So what are people going to say at that point? They don't care now, right, Ron? They don't care. Well, I guess it doesn't matter to me then. And do we really care? And push comes to shove, do we really care? No. I guess I would care if they decided I shouldn't get paid. And they love the insurance company that they've never even met more than me, and they just assume the insurance company keep the 6% or the 1% a year. But I don't care if they want me to be paid 1% or 6%. So what has that done to the magazine article that said, hey, commissions are evil? What's that done to that? I mean, yeah, it's goodbye. What can they say? You pay me any way you want, 1%, 6%, not at all. Which way do you want? Let's go through how those affect you. Doesn't affect you, doesn't affect you, doesn't affect you. The kind of weird one is, why would the company not paying me at all? Why wouldn't you get a better deal that way? Well, because this I don't know why they have this law, but there's this law called rebating. They can't pay you, or they'll lose their entire company if they do that. So in the end, you decide. Tell me how you want me to get paid. So that objection goes where? Bye-bye. Make sense? Any questions on that? Good. What people say they want and what they really want can be two different things. And this is very important to us. That's why we don't like yes, no answers. We want them to actually verbalize things. But even when they verbalize things, it can be bad. And here's what they found, the paradox of market research. It is essential part of advertising process, yet the process is terribly flawed. For example, people can lie on surveys or fall into groupthink and focus groups. Even more importantly, people often do not understand what motivates them. Perception and consciousness are very slippery phenomenon. Do you remember the TED Talks video that you watched when you came to training? Do people even know that the environment around them is making them make the decisions they make? They have no clue. We don't have any clue. So when you ask people for their opinions, are their opinions the exact way they're going to act? No. That's right, Sue, not even. And the reason I bring this up is because I read a book called Everybody Lies, Big Data, New Data, and What the Internet Can Tell You About Who We Really Are. So what they found is that this guy predicted the last presidential election 2 months before everybody else did because he was simply looking at what people were Googling. And people weren't Googling Donald Trump or anything like that. They were Googling other things. And he said, you know what? Based on what they're Googling, I know Trump is going to win. And you can read the book to figure out what they were Googling to see why he knew Trump was going to win. So even though all the polls, because all the polls were saying that Hillary was going to win, this guy 2 months beforehand said, without a doubt, I know that Trump's going to win based on what people were Googling. Because, and why did the polls fail, guys? Why did the polls fail to tell us what happened? Many people were not willing to tell people that they were going to vote for Trump. They thought they would be judged for voting for Trump. So they would tell people, I'm going to vote for Trump because that's what they thought people wanted to hear. But then when it came to the voting booth, guess what? It was far different, or at least moderately different enough to completely blow almost all the polls out of the water and make them all wrong. Because what people were saying in polls and what they were really going to do were two totally different things. They just didn't want to admit to whoever they thought they would be judged for voting for Trump. Does that make sense? And that's what this whole book is about, is that, you know what? When people are alone at a computer and they're typing things into Google, guess how honest they are? When they're alone in the room and it's only them seeing what they're Googling, yeah, they're very, very honest. And it's amazing the amount of things that this guy has found out about the population in the world and in the U.S. on what we really think. Because Google is actually it's almost like our confessional, right? It's even better than a confessional because there's not even another guy on the other side of the wall there. This is our true feelings that are going on there. And because social comparisons are a huge part of how people interact with each other. We will say things that because we do not want to be judged. We will say things that we don't want to be judged, just, about money, about our prejudice, about sex, about our health concerns. We will type things into Google that we would never say amongst our social group or our group of friends about money, about prejudice. Now, of course, the older we get, crazy old grandpa, what will he say? Well, crazy old grandpa, anything. The older we get, the less we care about this, right? The older we get, the less we care how people think. But that's the norm, or do most people not care how people think about them, or is that extremely rare? Yeah, it's rare. Most people worry about how people think about them. So these very personal things about money and charity and what they would do with money and money and children and priorities of money, the prejudice, sex, health concerns. Many of us aren't comfortable saying, hey, I've got this particular problem here. Let me give you the symptoms. What do you think I got? But we're way willing to put it into Google, right? We're more likely even to put it into Google than we will to talk to our doctors about it. So the funny thing, it's not even funny. It's kind of sad. But here's one example right out of the book. The Truth About Hate and Prejudice. Sex and romance are hardly the only topics cloaked in shame. He has a whole chapter on sex and romance and what people Google in there and what it tells about us. But guys, if you want a very entertaining and and a book that would make you look at the world differently, this is a great book to read. It's nonfiction, but it is extremely entertaining. But so this is the next chapter after the sex and romance. Say, sex and romance are hardly the only topics cloaked in shame, and therefore not the only topics about which people keep secrets. Many people are, for good reason, inclined to keep their prejudices to themselves. Now that's changed over the last couple of years, but for the most part, most people are still inclined to keep their prejudices to themselves. I suppose you could call it progress that many people today feel that they'll be judged if they admit they judge other people based on their ethnicity, sexual orientation, or religion. But many Americans still do. You can see this on Google, where users sometimes ask questions such as, why are black people rude? Or why are Jews evil? How many people would be comfortable asking their friends or, at a cocktail party these particular questions? Even if you're thinking them, would you be okay asking those questions? No, we wouldn't want to, right? A few patterns among these stereotypes stand out. For example, African Americans are the only group that faces a rude stereotype. Nearly every group is a victim of stupid. So there's why are Polacks stupid? I grew up with that being Polish, and so there's a stupid stereotype for every type of ethnicity. The only two that are not, though, I say every type? No, I'm wrong. There's only two types of ethnicities where the stupid stereotype does not apply, and that's to Jews and Muslims. They're not stereotyped as being stupid. The evil stereotype is applied to Jews and Muslims and gay people, but not to black people. So black people they will why are black people stupid? But they won't say that why are black people evil. They say why are Jews and Muslims. See, these are all things that Google tells us about what is really going on in the psyche of the American population. So why is that important? It's important because it applies to us and our clients and our communication with our clients. See, there's always some truth behind just kidding. There's always some knowledge behind I don't know. How about this one, guys? When somebody at a meeting tells you I don't know, guess what they're really telling you? I don't know, or I don't want to tell you. Could be I don't care. Could be I don't want to tell you. Could be they really don't know. But we don't. There's generally something behind that answer. Emotions behind I don't care. Guys, does anybody really believe there's no emotions around I don't care? Usually I don't care means what? I'm emotionally disgusted with this topic and I don't want to talk about it anymore. So is disgusted an emotion? Tired of and pain behind it's okay. Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. Does that apply to what we do with our clients? I made $50,000 a year by completely destroying their illusions that their guy had their best interest at heart. And who did they blame, their guy or me? When I was making $50,000 a year and I completely destroyed their advisor, and they would know that guy was screwing them, I destroyed their illusion that was a good guy. But they did not like me. It wasn't their guy. They didn't like me. I had to learn to do it a different way. I'm not rude. I'm honest. And that's what I hear a lot of guys say. Mike, I don't. All this stuff that we're doing, it seems like we're jumping through a lot of hoops. I just want to be honest with people. I just want to be honest with people. When I hear that, here's what I say. You know what? That makes total sense. First of all, are we not honest with people? How many things should we say? How many statements should we make? Nothing. It's all questions. So we're not dishonest with people because we're not saying anything. We're having the client tell us. So it's usually when they say, I just want to be honest with people, what they're saying is, I don't want to jump through these hoops where I'm having them learn themselves. It seems like we're manipulating them. Well, guys, having them discover a truth, is that manipulating them? No. Could you use the 5Q system to sell ice cubes to Eskimos? No, you could not. Because there's nobody in their right mind that would come to their own conclusion as an Eskimo, or that they would want more ice. They're surrounded by ice. So it would not work. So what they're simply saying is, I don't want to, but they'll say, I just want to be honest with people because people love honesty. And I say, that's interesting. That's interesting. So if your wife says, do I look fat in this? You'll say, yeah, honey, you do. How many of us would say that to our wives if they asked us? Yeah, only once is right. We wouldn't say that. I said, and when I ask them that, they kind of laugh and say, well, no, well, that's different. I say, oh, you're right, it is different. So what you're telling me is with the people we truly love, we should lie to them. But with strangers, we should be totally honest and rude to them. Does that make any sense, guys? We should lie to the people we love most, but we should be totally honest with people who are strangers or prospects. No. Now, with the 5Q, if your wife asked you, if I look fat in this, could you use the 5Q system to not get in trouble? Yeah, you certainly could. Get on her side, right? You could easily do that. Now, here's the big thing. A half-truth is often a lie. Ben Franklin said that. Half-truth is often a great lie. And that's what we run into. These half-truths is often great lies. Because people don't really want to challenge us, so guess what they'll do? They'll tell us what we want to hear. They'll give us a half-truth. So 5Q has a truth serum. And what is that truth serum that we have? We got questions. We ask open-ended questions. That's right. Very, very good. We ask open-ended questions. That's the truth serum. Because will people give you a complete thought answer that they don't agree with? We're going to talk about a little bit about that in a couple of minutes. The other truth serum, now that's a truth serum for clients. What do we have as a truth serum for you guys? Ah, very good. David's got it. We record. Oops. We record. So for our clients, we have our truth serum is open-ended questions, and for you guys, the truth serum is the recording. So what do we learn about yes? What does yes equal? When somebody says yes, what does that mean? It means it could mean one of four things, so what you guys are saying is it means nothing. That means exactly, because if it's one of four things and I know which one of those four things it is, it's worth nothing. It's worth nothing. We don't want to hear yes. We don't want to hear no. We don't want to hear okay. We don't want to hear maybe. All of those are lousy questions. We want to hear a complete sentence. That's the truth serum for our clients. Because people will say yes to things they don't agree with. People will say yes when they don't understand something. People will say yes when they're not paying attention. But if you ask them for an open-ended question, if they don't agree with you, will they? If they don't agree with you, will they come out and agree with you in an open-ended in a complete sentence? No, they will not, because you're asking them to lie out loud. They just will not do it. And I'm going to talk about what they will do instead here in a second. So we need to ask that open-ended questions. Instead, if they don't really agree with you, but you ask them an open-ended question and they don't want to argue, guess what they'll do? They'll have qualifiers. They'll say, oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying the market would go up. If I want them to say the market's going to go up, and they say, I see what you're saying. You're saying the market's going up. Are they going to agree with? Is that agreeing with me? Or is that a qualifier? Are they copping out? Yeah, they're copping out there. They're not agreeing with me. Well, the market would probably go up. Is that agreeing with me? Nope. Well, the market would most likely go up. Could be the market would go up. Yes, you're saying that the market would go up. Any of those things are what? If they really believe me, what should they say? Well, the market would go up. They will not say, if they really don't believe the market's going to go up, they will not say, well, the market's going to go up. They'll say, I see what you're saying. You're saying the market's going to go up. So you got to listen for those qualifiers, because what they'll do is they will not say something they don't believe out loud. What they're going to do, now occasionally I'll have advisors say, well, I've had clients that will say things, will lie. Well, guys, then you've got your answer. If a client will lie, what kind of a client are they going to be? Good or bad? But will most people lie with something like this? No, they won't. So they'll if they know what you want them to say, so they say, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're saying the market's go up, or yeah, well, it'd probably go up, or It most likely would go up, or it could go up. I see what you're saying. No, that's how they'll weasel out of giving you the answer that you are looking for. It tells you they don't believe you. So then you got to go back and do what? Ask more questions so they can come to their own conclusion that yes, it would absolutely go up, or whatever we're trying to get them to say. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Can I get some yeas or nos? Good. So now for ourselves, we got to listen to ourselves and critique. This is our truth serum here. We have to listen to ourselves and critique it. See, because 5Q was built on this concept. When I was making $50 grand a year, did I go up to $1 million immediately? No, it took me a year to go from 50,000 to 350, and really most of that 350 came on the second half of that year because I struggled until it started to hit. And what I did is I just basically tried something, listened to the tape, fixed a little thing. Tried something, fixed a tape, and kept building this. So the whole scripts were not built by me, as Jeff always points out. They're built from the clients. Because what I would do is I would listen, say, I don't want that to happen again. I'm going to try this to make sure it doesn't happen. Okay, that worked. Now I'm going to find something else to fix. And then I do it until I find something else to fix. So failure is a big part of why this system works, because I failed so many times. I took care of all the things where I did not see anything but success. So when you were out at training, one of the things we showed you was Groundhog Day, because that's essentially what we're doing, right? By the end of the movie, Bill Murray's character was how on? I mean, how on was that guy? How dope was that guy? He was spot on, right? Why? Because he's a genius? I've seen it. There's a ton of if you've ever go online, there is thousands of comments and commentary on Groundhog Day and on why it happened, what happened, why is this happening, how many times did he live it. Many people think that he lived it 10,000 times. Why did he live it 10,000 times? Because it took 10,000 times to master that particular day. So I want to go through, just as one other part of the movie, but I want to go through it and show you how doing this can help us in our practice. So we'll just watch about 4 minutes of Groundhog Day and see why him repeating actually helps us in certain parts of the meeting. So let's do that.
Phil? Hey, Phil? Phil Connors? Phil Connors, I thought that was you.
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for watching.
Hey. Now, don't you tell me you don't remember me, because I sure as heck fire remember you.
Not a chance.
Ned! Ryerson! Needle-nosed Ned the head. Come on, buddy. Chase Western High. Ned Ryerson, I did the whistling belly button trick at the high school talent show. Bing! Ned Ryerson got the shingles real bad senior year, almost didn't graduate. Bing! Again! Ned Ryerson, I dated your sister Mary Pat a couple times till you told me not to anymore. Well?
Ned Ryerson?
Bing!
Bing! So did you turn pro with that belly button thing, Ned? Or
no,
what?
Phil, I sell insurance.
What a shock.
Do you have life insurance? Because if you do, you could always use a little more. Am I right or am I right or am I right? Right.
Ned, I would love to stand here and talk with you, but I'm not going to.
Hey, that's all right. I'll walk with you. You know, whenever I see an opportunity now, I charge it like a bull. Ned the Bull, that's me now. You know, I got friends of mine who live and die by the actuarial tables, and I say, hey, it's all one big crapshoot anywho. Tell me, have you ever heard of single premium life? Because I think that really could be the ticket for you. Oh, God! It is so good to see you. What are you doing for dinner?
Something else. It's been great seeing you, Needlehead. Take care.
Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
So far, how prepared was he for this particular meeting? Not very. So let's watch what happens here.
Hey! Phil? Phil? Hey! Phil Connors. I thought that was you. Oh my, Phil Connors. Now, don't you say you don't remember me, because I sure as heck fire remember you. Well?
Ned Ryerson?
Bang! Oh, first shot right out of the box. So, how's it going, old buddy?
Well, to say the truth, Nettie, I'm not feeling real well. Would you excuse me?
Well, you know, it's funny you should mention your health, because you will never guess what I do now.
Do you sell insurance?
So he's trying to overcome that objection, right, of being sold insurance by I'm not feeling well. Did that work for him? No, because he kept going.
Oh, bing! Again, you are sharp as a tack today. Do you have life insurance, Phil? Because if you do, you could always use a little more, right? I mean, who couldn't? But you want to know something? I got the feeling you ain't got any. Am I right or am I right? Or am I right? Am I right?
I gotta go.
Phil! Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
So has he fixed any of his problems yet? Nope. So he's going to do it again now.
Hey, Phil! Phil Connors! I thought, hey, Phil! Don't say you don't remember me, because I sure as heck fire remember you. It's me.
So what did he do to try to get rid of him? Tried to push him. Did that work? Nope.
Ned Ryerson! Needle-nosed Ned the head. Come on, buddy.
Trying to run away from the problems. Is that working for him? Nope.
Hey, Switzer! Hey! Hey!
Catch you tomorrow.
Hey! Phil? Phil? Hey! Phil Connors! Ned? Phil Connors, I thought it was you.
Ned Ryerson.
So now he knows this objection is coming, right? This objection of this pushy salesman's coming, and he's seen it so many times. Now he's going to try a way to overcome that objection to disarm them. So let's see what he does.
Yeah.
I have missed you so much. I don't know where you're headed, but can you call in sick?
I gotta get going. It's good to see you, Phil.
So with 5Q, should we know objections are coming? Should we be surprised? Is he surprised by this quote-unquote objection? No, he's not surprised. So he knows it's coming, and so when he knows it's coming, he can what? Deal with it. And did he deal with it in an aggressive way by punching him? Or did he deal in a way that basically got on his side so much that what happened to Ned? He got on his side so well, yeah, it creeped him out, and he ran away. So the beauty of our 5Q system is that we've done these meetings 60,000 times successfully, so we know exactly how people are going to act once you've mastered them. Once you get them so well that you can wing it when you're with people, because you don't even have to think about what you're doing. The power of that is unbelievable. So I'm going to circle right back to where I began. Is you guys, many of you have learned the 21-point checklist. Now go back and master it. And as we talked about with Kelvin, the catching 600 balls a day, you've seen it here with the Groundhog Day. The true serum that we have is listen to those tapes and be honest with yourself. Have I learned the 21-point checklist, or have I mastered it? And if I've mastered it, what can I make once I've mastered it? Because, guys, if you've mastered the 21-point checklist and people have no objections, how much money can you make? As much as you want. Make sense? So good. I thank you all for being on. Make sure you're doing those 50-minute drills, doing your daily practice. You're continuing to master those scripts. And when you do that, you're going to bring in every client you want to bring on. So you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll be gone next Monday, but Jeff will be doing a fantastic call. So we'll talk to you all in a couple weeks. Thanks, everybody.